a Melbourne-based. I ask her about her craft and its complexities. So, tell me, Miss Astrotash, what made you become an astrologer?
Well, I guess it's not the most conventional of career choices, but I've always been fascinated with spiritual topics. My mum was a clairvoyant and so was my grandmother. But, you know, I just got to a point in my life where I knew I wanted to take a different path.
Yeah.
And I knew that that involved study of some sort. So
Yes.
I was tossing up between astrology, naturopathy and psychology. And my one prerequisite was that I had to feel passionate about what I was going to pursue. So I was literally praying to the universe for a sign. And then the next week I ended up at Channel 10 and I bumped into the gorgeous Karen Morgold.
Yes.
And she set me on my path. But I think...
What was it she said to actually make you go down that path?
Well, firstly, I saw her as my sign.
Yes, yes.
And so I met with her and gave her my number, explained what I wanted to do. And there are no universities out there that teach astrology, so it was really important for me to find a reputable study or course.
Yes.
So she rang me the next day and put me onto someone who then put me onto my teacher.
Wow. And why would someone obviously have their astrology consultation? Like, what specifically do they come to you for when they have a consultation?
Right. So people usually come to me when they're at a crossroad or a crisis in their life.
Okay.
And they might have tried some other form of more conventional method of guidance or support that hasn't worked for them. So they can come to me to find out when to set a good date for a wedding or for electional surgery, for example. But astrology is just a fantastic tool to help develop your self-awareness so that you can play on your strengths and minimise your weaknesses.
So what would the difference be between astrology and a clairvoyant, for example? Like, what is a birth chart?
Yeah, that's a good question. A clairvoyant or a fortune teller is more likely to give you specific details with a predetermined outcome. Whereas an astrologer is looking at the planets and the energy and how that is working for you so that you get to then make the choices as to how you're going to move forward. I'm a big believer in free will. I agree. Yes, I don't believe that we get out of this lifetime that lightly, that we don't have to make our choices and live by the consequences. But having said that, obviously there are times when things are taken out of our hands, but we can still choose how we respond in that situation.
So if I went to you and I said, read my birth chart, if someone's born on the same day, how would mine differ to theirs?
Well, it's dependent upon your time, your date, year obviously, and location of birth. So birth chart is calculated according to latitude and longitude and all of that information. So it does, and your time, it does affect it and make it quite different. So it's actually a lot more individual than people realise.
So if I was born at midnight and someone was born at 2 p.m, it makes a massive difference.
It does, it does. Your ascendant or your rising sign can change an entire sign in about 2 hours.
Really?
Yes. And the moon as well. The moon travels quite quickly. It changes signs every 2.5 days. So yes, all those details are really important to make it as individual to you as your fingerprint, really.
So if I am born on December 22nd, I'm on the cusp. What are the differences than being just a Capricorn and Sagittarius?
Yeah, so the cusp issue is a big one.
Yeah.
I recently wrote an article actually on the cusp. But basically, the sun is transitioning between two different signs for about 12 hours. So if you're born in that period of time, then you're likely to be on the cusp. But really, truly to be on the cusp, you have to be, and I don't want to get too technical because everything in astrology, there's so much math and science to do with astrology. And everything's measured in degrees, minutes and seconds. So
so it's just even minute by seconds can make a big difference.
Absolutely, and then you'll click over into the next sign depending on your time of birth.
So when people read the horoscopes in the newspapers, are they actually accurate? Or I think you can relate to almost everything, like I've read it, but I think it's also awareness. You might know something, but then when you read it, you have this awareness that you put out into the universe. But are the ones in the papers as accurate as they say they are?
Well,
I'm sure everyone would love to know.
yes. Well, here's the thing about sun sign astrology.
Yes.
And I write sun sign columns, so I love them. It's
so yours are accurate.
Of course, of
Yes.
course. But here's my catch cry. Okay, so when people are reading the sun sign columns, they're going to be reading for their sun sign. They're going to be saying, I'm a Capricorn, so I'm going to read for Capricorn. And there is going to be a large degree of generalisation around that, because you're categorising the entire population into 12 segments.
And they're born at different times.
And they've got their individual birth charts.
Yeah.
The sun is very important in astrology. It's the centre of our solar system.
Okay.
It represents our basic character. But my catch cry, and I'm always going on to my followers about reading the sun sign columns for their ascendant or their rising sign.
Okay.
So I'm giving you a little scoop,
Okay,
giving away trade secrets.
Yeah.
That will just, because it lines up a lot better with your individual birth chart, and then you'll get a much more accurate reading. But I'd suggest to read for your ascendant sign and combine it with your sun sign.
So your ascendant sign is, I don't understand.
So the ascendant sign is determined by your time of birth, and so you need to know your time of birth to know your ascendant, and then you have to have your birth chart calculated.
Okay.
I actually offer a free service on my website where you can do that, and you get the chart. Underneath is a list of all the planets and their placements, and just look at your ascendant, the sign that it's in, and then when you're reading the sun sign columns, you read for that sign as well as your sun sign.
And for all the skepticals out there, because everyone always has an opinion about things like this, what would you say?
Yeah, well, astrology does attract its share of skeptics for sure.
Yeah. And you don't look like usually you see astrologists and they're a little bit eccentric.
Yeah.
I
keep all my eccentricity internally, perhaps. But look, I love a skeptic. I think it shows independent thinking.
Yes.
So I, bring on the challenge of a skeptic, and I'd start with the moon.
Okay.
Everyone knows that the moon influences the tides here on Earth.
Yes.
And the human body is made up of about 60 to 70% of water.
That's true.
Yeah, so it stands to reason that the moon is going to influence what it represents in astrology, which is your emotional responses, your moods, your feelings, bodily fluids such as the blood.
I didn't know this.
There you go.
Learning something new every day.
I know, I'm glad to be of assistance. Yeah. The emergency departments get super busy around the time of the full moon, and police often put on extra staff because crime escalates.
I have heard that.
Yeah.
I didn't know if it was fact or fiction, so I guess it is fact. So stay indoors when it's a full moon.
That's it.
But you've been super busy. Tell me about everything you've been up to and your agenda for Astrotash. Where do you see yourself in the future?
Oh gosh, well, it has been a bit of a whirlwind because I've been studying and presenting to my research group for about 17 years. And
I didn't know this about you, and I've known you about that long.
Because I started when I was a baby, obviously.
Yeah.
But look, at the moment I'm enjoying doing my daily blogging on Instagram and Facebook. Love connecting with people on those platforms. I'm writing weekly and monthly horoscope columns for Mamma Mia and Body and Soul. Also writing a zodiac series of articles for Body and Soul with a focus on each star sign for every month.
Yes.
I did a little stint on radio recently, which was lots of fun. I spoke at a beautiful event called the Soul Star Festival.
Which you were fabulous, I saw that, so
thank
congratulations.
You so much. Thank you. That was such an amazing experience. They had a stellar lineup of light workers.
Yes. Yeah.
So I was just so privileged to be amongst that lineup of light workers and speakers there, and I will be doing a podcast for them coming up very soon on the upcoming astrology. Hi everyone, I'm Astrotash with your stars for May. Aries, the new moon glows in your money zone. Increase your earnings through a promotion or extra hours. A budgeting app can help to reorganise your finances. Drip feed a new idea to your boss. Eventually, the bait will be taken. Taurus, now is the time to move towards change, but don't feel that you have to dive in head first. Take things slowly and navigate the shallow waters for now. May's full moon illuminates relationships. Are all your needs being met? If not, address the issue, but do so with sensitivity. Happy birthday, Gemini. The sun activates a brand new year of possibilities. Here's your chance to press the reset button and start afresh. Apply the brakes to a major financial commitment until you've researched all of your options. Consider carefully if the investment is the right fit for you. Cancer. Pluto and Saturn's rewind in your relationship zone is creating some ripples. A new connection may turn out to be all smoke and mirrors. You are likely to meet a new friend that's destined to be in your life for the long haul, bringing you a ton of support in times to come. Leo, the full moon brings closure. A wound that has been festering for far too long can finally be healed. See the scar that it leaves as a beautiful imprint of wisdom. May brings socializing to the max. Accept invitations that pop up in your inbox or social media and have some fun. Virgo, explore your creative side. Maybe you have a book inside you, or perhaps painting is more of your thing. Now is the time to turn a hobby into something profitable. In relationships, it might be a case of 2 steps forward and 1 step back. Libra, start the process of planning for a dream vacation. Research destinations, airfares and hotels and compare prices to find the best deal. Extra money may come from an outside source, such as a bonus, a raise or a gift. Planting small investments now will grow your money tree later. Scorpio, Mars inspires you to seek out a spiritual pursuit. Try a meditation class or read a book on a metaphysical subject that interests you. Singles can expect a relationship revolution, whilst couples experience a wild party or a thrilling occasion together. Sagittarius, accept nothing less than wonderful treatment. It's perfectly okay to enjoy being wined, dined, and appreciated by someone special. Venus adds a little extra zest and sparkle to your vibe. Just practice moderation so that you don't burn out too quickly. Capricorn, Venus jumpstarts your love life. Act in your relationship rather than complaining about what's not being done. Take the initiative and lead the way. A friend may not be all that they appear to be, with jealousy and envy at play. Aquarius, allow your imagination to run wild and free. Follow through with an inventive idea and trust in your genius. You may discover that you have more in common with someone than you originally thought. Something will just click and you'll be lost in conversation. Pisces, a misunderstanding with a sibling or your bestie is cleared up once the emotional heat has dissipated. Listen to what your lover has to say, but also to what they don't say. Reading between the lines will be especially revealing. Thank you so much for watching. I hope the stars shine brightly for you all.